That tree is as big as the rock.
I'm sorry, I really can't afford to be distracted. I need to get to the bottom of this. Yes, concerned is an understatement. I work for the scientific division of MAST. I've been studying this tree for quite some time, and it appears to be exhibiting some worrying signs. Are you familiar with this particular specimen? Do you understand its importance?
Is this a trick question, or some sort of Zen riddle?
Some people aren't capable of understanding how vitally important botany is. Look, I have a lot of work to do here. If you're just going to gawk, I'd ask that you move on. If you can actually assist me, however, I would appreciate it. I don't normally solicit help from random passersby, but it seems an exception is necessary. Would you be willing to retrieve some additional data for me? Well, thank you. That's unexpected. There's a series of biosensors I've placed in various locations around New Atlantis, all calibrated to gather pertinent information. They've been running for long enough that I think it's time to collect and analyze their findings. If you would bring them to me, that would save time.
So I dust the last spacer ship, but then I realized my tank sprung a leak. I'm stuck. And the only place close enough to land... Wait.
You're not suggesting...
Ptolemy 2, Terramorph Heaven. So, I sat down, grabbed the highest caliber weapon I've got, and start walking.
Bull. If that had actually happened, you wouldn't be standing here.
No lie. Hell, you're welcome to go ask around the Marine outpost I stumbled into. They're the only reason I'm still breathing.
Set foot on that death trap. I think I'll just take your word for it.
Another shift. chef school. I think I got them,
Hey, are you looking for eggs too? I've only found one so far, but I want to find more before anyone else does. So if you see some, can you tell me? Okay, well, if I see any of those, I'll tell you. And you can tell me if you find any eggs. Miss Seng over at UC Distribution bought the one I found, and she said she might buy more if I can find them. I could really use the credits.
You can trust.
I'm pleased to report that our stocks are currently being maintained at 90% or higher. I'm sure. Welcome to UC Distribution. Something. Oh, well, certainly. Who, Jordan? That kid's in here every other day with some random thing he found, trying to get credits. Yeah, I took pity on him. Why, what is it? Oh, really? Well, you can have it back for what I paid for it, plus a little extra. Let's call it a convenience fee, shall we? Pleasure doing business with you. You're always welcome back, if you don't mind a bit of a wait.
I don't mean to be pushy, but I really do need those sensors, and quickly. Any luck tracking down those sensors? So you do. Wonderful. I'll just take these, and we'll see what they have to tell us. All right, we'll just upload the data, and give it a moment. Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that my suspicions were correct. There is something wrong with the tree. I will report my findings to MAST immediately with no small amount of satisfaction. The phrase, "I told you so," may even be uttered more than once. Yes, it does feel good to be right, particularly when others have attempted to convince you otherwise. Repeatedly. The bad news, as it were, is that the internal composition of the tree is changing. In this particular case, the tree is now regularly emitting ultra-low frequency sound waves. They're nearly imperceptible now, but they're growing in strength. This is something we've never observed before. Depending on how large these waves grow, consequences for the city could be disastrous. I must consult with my colleagues in MAST at once. Thank you for your assistance. I hope these credits are adequate compensation. Well, isn't this a pleasant surprise? I hadn't expected to run into you again. Indeed I am. The success of my previous venture, with which you so kindly assisted, has been brought to the attention of MAST. There is growing concern. Oh my, a bit of an unintentional pun, isn't that? Well, concern that things are going to get worse. The data we gathered points to a definitive trend. The vibrations coming from this tree are increasing in strength and frequency. Because we've never seen this before, not on this scale, we have absolutely no idea what the upper limit is. We don't know when or even if this will stop. It's imperceptible by normal human standards now, but given time. While I hesitate to speculate on the possibilities, well, none of them are good. I am attempting to formulate one, yes. But until I have all of the relevant information, it is impossible to do so. There is data regarding other, younger members of the species. Unfortunately, there are some, shall we say, personal issues with acquiring it. Personnel issues, if you understand me. What? No, that is ridiculous. I am a professional. One of the other researchers in MAST, Emilio Hadek, has research I believe could be vital to my work here. He and I don't see eye to eye, and so far he's refused to turn it over to me. I'm hoping that if someone else were to ask, he might be more inclined to relinquish it. What do you say? He's held a grudge against me for years. It's petty, really. I'm sure he thinks that doing this now will hold back my career. He wouldn't listen when I tried to explain this isn't about me. There are bigger concerns. Oh, thank you. Last I knew, he was on a field assignment somewhere near the outskirts of the city. Perhaps it's best if you don't mention my name in the process?
Of all the assignments they could have given me. Could you stand a little to the left? I think you're blocking my readings. Trees? I see what's going on here. You're working with Kelton, aren't you? Nice try, but it's not happening. No. No way. Kelton is actively ruining my career. There's no chance that I'm helping him with anything. Whatever this thing is he's on about, he's just doing it to make himself look good with the higher-ups. I'm not helping him with that. Yeah, that's all very touching. But cathartic or not, my career would still be in flames. He really won't let this go, will he? Maybe I can make this work in my favor. Okay, you know what? I'll hand over the data. But I'm only going to do so after you've helped me secure a better position in MAST. Oh, don't worry. You're just going to erase some files for me. Make sure I look good next time promotions get passed around. Wait, really? Wow. Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure how far I'm willing to stick my neck out for a tree. If that makes me the asshole...
I've gotten a few bad performance evaluations in the last couple of years. Totally unjustified, incredibly unfair. I found a backdoor into the MAST network so I could make some changes to my personnel file. But it turns out the chief engineer knows what she's doing. The only way to get access is from the terminal in her apartment, which is kind of locked. Sorry, that's not on the table. There is, and I already explained exactly what it is. From where I'm standing, kinda seems like it is. It's not that I don't want to do the right thing. Okay, look. Just hear me out, all right? I really need this to happen. If you do this for me, I can make it worth your while. You delete that data, I get promoted, I'm pulling in a bigger salary. I can compensate you. I'll throw in some extra credits for you, okay? A nice little bonus. But first, you need to get into the chief engineer's apartment. Fine, you win. Just get out of my sight. And tell Kelton to stuff it.
I hope you have the data. It's really quite crucial. Wonderful. I see you have the gift of the gab. I hope that Emilio wasn't too insufferable. I'm sorry if this was complicated. I'd prefer to remain unaware of the details in the event that it comes up later, particularly in a legal setting. And I suppose I'd better verify the data to make sure Emilio didn't double-cross me. But you have once again come through for me. I'm truly hoping that this is the last piece I need to figure out what we can do. And I appreciate it. Thank you for your assistance. Oh, I was hoping we might run into one another again. Your timing is most fortuitous. I'm on the verge of something, but I don't quite have all the information I need. You have no idea how much I appreciate that, truly. Of course, now that I understand more about what's going on, it seems plain as day, and yet I never would have imagined it before. The tertiary trunks have also liquefied their interiors, but they're not vibrating. I thought perhaps it was some sort of defect, but it's much simpler. They're listening. It means it is ready to reproduce. I believe this tree is sending vibrations out over massive distances and expecting to detect sympathetic vibrations in return. As of yet, there's been no response. I suspect that will not change, that a response is impossible, and that's very, very bad news. We're continuing to see an increase in the strength and frequency of the vibrations. I don't know how much more significant it'll become. If there's no response, the tree may vibrate itself and some nearby portion of the city to destruction. Now, as of yet, there has been no response, and clearly none of the nearby individuals are a correct match. While it can't be ruled out that the intended recipient of these messages was cut down during the city's expansion, there is one other possibility. Over 100 years ago, the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective emerged from the Narian War. As a gesture of peace and goodwill, a near-literal olive branch, one of the trees from New Atlantis, was offered to the leaders of Aquila City. Nice. Short-sighted and ill-advised, in my opinion. Of course, you can't just uproot a native species and plunk it down on some other planet in a totally different environment and expect it to grow. Clearly, no exobotanists were consulted ahead of time. The end result was wholly predictable. The tree died within a few short years. Clever, but no, not necessarily. The tree died, yes, but branches were kept. At least one still exists in the museum there in the city. If I had that branch, I could get DNA samples, and then using various data I've gathered, I could attempt to simulate a response. We could then broadcast that response and hopefully calm down our friend here. But as I say, I need that branch. I knew you would understand. The museum in Aquila City is under the supervision of one Miss Kassler, I'm told. I don't know anything about her, but hopefully she'll be willing to listen to reason and assist our cause. All right, off you go. We don't have any time to waste.
Welcome to the Co-Heritage Museum. I offer a brief tour, and I'm happy to discuss the city's history as well. Hi! Please feel free to have a look around. It's the reason I started this place. Most people know Solomon Coe as the founder of Aquila City and the father of the Freestar Collective. He was an astrophysicist who lived on Earth in a place called Wyoming. Solomon was born around the time people first started living in space. Later in life, he designed starships, and when Earth was in peril, those ships helped to save humanity by taking them to new homes in the stars. The bravery and heroism it took to save humanity. Whew, goosebumps. During the Great Exodus, Solomon came to this world. He named our star Cheyenne, which was also a place on Earth, and gave Aquila its name too. He and some others built the settlement that would go on to become Aquila City, and his descendants still live here today. There are some things I would kill to have. I mean, wait, not literally. But I would pay a lot for. You see, the Coe family lost a treasure trove of old historic documents ages ago, and those documents would be priceless to have here. Well, all of them were owned by our city's founder, Solomon Coe. He's more than that, really. He's one of the greatest heroes of the settled systems. These documents would be, like I said, priceless to the museum and to our guests. Their absence pains me. Jacob Coe and I have talked at length, and his great-grandfather was a troubled man. He sold off various historic documents to cover debts. They could be anywhere. If you find any of that trove of documents, I will pay dearly for it. Thank you. Think of the future generations that could benefit from seeing such important history. That is not something I expected to hear today. I assume you're somehow associated with the United Colonies? I've received some odd messages of late. Most in the collective aren't overly fond of MAST or the UC in general. I tend to share that sentiment. Lost a cousin in the colony war, you know. Well, I'm afraid you've wasted your time because I'm not authorized nor particularly inclined to release any of our pieces. That includes 100-year-old tree branches. Sorry, but it's staying in storage. Everything you see here is a piece of Aquila City's history. I hear what you're saying, but I'm afraid it's out of the question. Handing over that branch is starting to look pretty good. I guess it couldn't hurt. Now you're just trying to confuse me. It's a dead branch, and it belongs to the museum. I can't just hand out museum exhibits to anyone. It doesn't work that way. If this isn't some sort of hustle, go talk to Earl Fulton. I believe he may still have some leftover scraps. That, of course, is a different kind of hustle altogether.
Honest Earl, that's what folks call me. You know, you don't just get a name like that by accident. Welcome, welcome! Let me ask you a simple question, friend. Are you prepared to see something so wondrous and strange that you're sure never to forget it? I promise you, this is something very real. Just hear me out, and I guarantee you'll change your mind. We got animals from the deepest, darkest corners of the settled systems. What you'll see will delight and amaze. Just a modest fee, and you can feast your eyes. I envy you, truly, for this opportunity. Confound that woman. I paid good credits for that lumber, which, by the way, she was just going to throw out, and she has no right to say otherwise. Why, if I had a receipt, I would gladly produce it. And after all that, none of my exotic beasts would even touch the stuff. In the end, I'm the one who was robbed. You don't say. Well, my friend, you will be happy to know that this is your lucky day. I do indeed still happen to have some of that exquisite hardwood and would be willing to part with it for just a few credits. I'm thinking perhaps, 500 credits ought to cover the storage expenses, not to mention what it'll take to purchase alternate food supplies for my exhibits. I think that's a more than fair deal, don't you? No? Ah, well, that's too bad. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. Mind you, I can't be sure I'll still have any. And if by chance I still do, I may have no choice but to raise the cost. Business expenses, you see. You can travel the whole of the settled systems, and I'm thinking perhaps... Wonderful, wonderful. Now, let me just see if I can locate some of that wood. Ah, here you are. Well, pleasure doing business with you, friend. Take care now.
Have you paid a visit to Miss Castler in Aquila City? Earl Fulton? I have no idea who that is. Hopefully he's trustworthy. Well, I'll trust your judgment. And beggars can't be choosers. Let's give it a shot. Now, I just need a moment to analyze this and synthesize an audio response to our friend here. Right, so we'll feed in a sample. Now the program will incorporate the genetic and chemical makeup of the sample, extrapolating the size and structure of the original tree. This was put together rather hastily, so complete accuracy is impossible, but I'm hoping it's enough. And there it is. Our best hope for a positive solution to this mess. So, we now have a simulated response to our tree. All that's left is to play it. Oh, I'm quite certain you couldn't achieve the necessary register. Far too low for human vocal cords. I've been forced to listen to this SSNN kiosk chatter incessantly this entire time. I think it could be put to better use. We don't have time to go through the proper channels, but if you can find a terminal and get this uploaded into their system, it might do the trick. I have no doubt that you will.
I wish I lived on a spaceship.
You can't go in. You just can't.
But David's my friend. He writes me.
I hate to break it to you, but his PA is the one who signs all those cards and headshots. Mr. Barron's a very busy and important man.
If you ever find yourself with a hot lead, we will do our best to protect your anonymity.
That's all I can do.
You are the best!
We've done it! I'm already seeing reductions in the strength of the vibrations. The tree is calming down. I can hardly believe that worked. I don't know. We've been in uncharted territory this whole time. That doesn't stop now. With the immediate crisis hopefully over, I can slow down and review everything we've learned. And certainly, I'll be keeping a much closer eye on our friend going forward. And you have saved this tree and advanced our scientific knowledge of our environment. Noble work across the board. You have my gratitude and that of every citizen in New Atlantis, though they don't know it.